Hey guys, Erik Kyle here, publisher of Great Lakes Scuttlebutt Magazine, and I'm excited to be joining you today via our Zoom call. And this is our latest news update regarding what's going on in the boating world here in the United States, especially on the Great Lakes. I have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Nicole Vasilaros. She is with the National Marine Manufacturers Association, and she's going to help share with us a little bit of information that we're going to need to know if we plan on going boating this year and when we can go boating, and maybe even some positive insights about what the marine industry as a whole is doing in reaction to some of the troubling times that we're living with. So Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so the National Marine Manufacturers Association, could you tell us a little bit about what that organization is, and also follow that up with what the organization is doing amidst the COVID-19 outbreak? How are you guys reacting to this?
Yeah, so the National Marine Manufacturers Association is a trade association for the recreational marine industry. We have about 1,400 members that represent manufacturers of boats, engines, trailers, accessory parts, about 85% of the entire supply chain here in the United States. And as a result of really this unprecedented time, the industry has really come together. There's a lot of desire for information out there. And so we immediately reacted, created a NMMA.org/coronavirus website, which is really a one-stop shop for everything for manufacturers, for boaters, for different parts of the industry to get information and keep up to date. This is a constantly evolving situation. And so we see this as an opportunity to really help the industry stay up to date on the information and be that voice for the industry, whether it's on Capitol Hill or through state governments, to make sure that we're part of those discussions regarding the pandemic and hopefully getting to the other side of this in a more positive way.
Well, really, Nicole, I love what you guys have done on the website, because there are some states that are closed to boating right now as of April 23rd, 2020. And not every boater in those states know that their state is closed, but there are a lot of states that are still open to boating, obviously being responsible in doing such, practicing good, safe social distancing and so forth, which when you're out on the water, you're obviously a ways more than 6 feet apart from each other, hopefully. But then there are some other states that have limited access. So I noticed on NMMA.org/coronavirus, I think it is, that you guys put out on a per state basis what's going on in each state. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we are monitoring what each state is doing on a daily basis, actually. And the good news is the vast majority of the United States is open for boating. Michigan as well as Maryland are the two states that currently prohibit boating. But we are continuing to monitor those states, and the ones that are open, some are completely open, no restrictions. Others have some varying rules to maintain social distancing and health. And from our perspective of an industry, first and foremost, we want to make sure that people are healthy and that they're staying safe. And as you mentioned, boating naturally provides an opportunity to social distance, particularly during these uncertain times. It provides an important respite for mental and physical health. And so we want to make sure that we're encouraging that activity in a safe way, and working with stakeholders both at the state and local level to make sure that access is available, and doing so in a responsible way. But the good news is most states are open for boating, and even in those states where some restrictions exist, we're having consistent conversations with lawmakers and law enforcement to be able to make sure that we can continue as much access as possible.
Well, you are right, Nicole. It's very therapeutic to be out on your boat. I mean, whether just going fishing or out for an afternoon on a sailboat, or just enjoying your pontoon boat, or going for a cruise on your power boat. I mean, just being out there on the water provides people who love the boating lifestyle with that opportunity to get somewhat of normalcy back into their lives.
Absolutely. And, we hope if there are any silver linings to this pandemic, that as folks have been stuck indoors, or, maybe they had trips planned overseas, that they'll look to boating in the summer months and in the fall to say, you know what, I'm going to stay closer to home. I'm going to stay with my family. And this is a great opportunity to do that and still stay healthy and safe. So, we want to make sure that we're positioning ourselves to keep individuals safe right now, and also on the other side of this, offering maybe a new opportunity for folks to get into the boating lifestyle.
I love that. As an industry, we in boating are competing with so many different lifestyle choices that people are making, especially parents with kids. We're constantly doing baseball, softball, volleyball, football, all of these different sporting events that are not happening right now. And boating is a great way to get the family together and get them out there on the water and just really enjoy a wonderful day being together and enjoying something that would normally put the family in 15 different places all at one time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're cooped up at home and you've got your kids together, this is a great way to get out. And we have to do it a little bit differently. The situation that this pandemic provides is that we can't go boating the same way we maybe did before. Rafting up is not really safe. Going out to the sandbar and having huge boat parties, it's not keeping in line with what the health experts and the CDC is telling us to do. So I do think it's important for boaters to realize that while we want to maintain access, we need to do so responsibly. And it's not only for our own health, but of course for the health of those around us.
And each state is responding to this pandemic a little bit differently. Like when you do have sandbar parties that a lot of boaters are going to, well, we want to practice that safe social distancing at some point in time, whether it's one of the phases proposed by the national, by the government, or by what the states are providing. We will end up at some point getting back to a point where we can raft off of each other and go up to beaches, and it just might not be the beginning part of the boating season here in the Great Lakes anyway.
Yeah, it seems like that now is not the time to do that, especially as we're changing our behaviors at grocery stores and other things. But what we're seeing is that states are making individual decisions, and oftentimes they're actually letting the different localities make decisions. So it's really important if you live in a state where, let's say, boating is somewhat allowed, to check with your local governments. We're seeing folks that are putting restrictions on, public boat ramps. You might have to park every other parking space away just to allow or prevent that overcrowding. We're seeing where there are being restrictions on how many people can be on a boat. So again, keeping it to your family members, making sure that you are social distancing and not overcrowding that vessel. And we think those are responsible, common sense solutions right now that still maintain some sort of access, but prevent the spread, at that public ramp, and then make sure they're really keeping that social distancing in mind once you're on that boat and limiting passengers to prevent further spread.
But it's great information for boaters who want to get out there and enjoy this lifestyle. I just want to switch gears a little bit for you right now, Nicole, and go into industry professionals that are dealerships. They own a marina, they got a prop repair shop, canvas repair shop, or something like that. What's the Marine Manufacturers Association suggestion to some of those businesses as they navigate these tough times as well?
Sure. So like all retail businesses and manufacturing, they're being impacted by state stay-at-home orders and what are considered essential business operations. And so not only do we provide a great resource map for boaters to be able to go state by state and figure out what opportunity you have, we have that same map for businesses, and really following the state guidelines of what's considered an essential business operation and how you can operate. Obviously, this is impacting a lot of dealerships and retail outlets. It's impacting marine manufacturers. But we think that things will be opening up in the next few weeks. We're seeing a lot of states, try to return to some sense of normalcy. And in many instances, marine manufacturing, marinas, repairs are still considered essential services. So even for states that we have seen have all-out closures, manufacturing to some extent and repairs particularly are still being allowed, which is good news, particularly in the Great Lakes where we're just on the cusp of the boating season. We are seeing in certain states some flexibility to allow those repairs and the marina operations to continue and get people ready to get out in the water in the next couple of weeks. So again, it's a state-by-state decision. Even if there are closures and restrictions, it doesn't mean that manufacturing or dealerships are necessarily closed. And you just need to turn to your state to figure out what bucket you fall in.
Right. Well, here in Ohio, I know that we've been very fortunate. But again, also, we hold the burden of responsibility of making sure that we're doing the things that are recommended by our state and local governments to keep our distance and make sure that since we do have the ability to go boating here, that we're responsible about taking advantage of that. Now, my favorite topic, boat shows. I personally do about 50 boat shows a year, and
Oh, wow.
everything dried up pretty quickly here in February. So what's your prediction? What's it looking like for boat shows this summer, this fall? Are we waiting until next year? What do you guys think about what's going to be happening with the life and future of boat shows?
You know, there is a lot of uncertainty, to be honest, there. Obviously, most boat shows are around large public gatherings. Many of them take place in convention centers. And so we're really keeping a close eye, working with those local entities that host these convention centers. And as things come back to normal or some sense of normalcy, really being able to say, all right, what are going to be the restrictions in terms of those large public gatherings, or what opportunities can we put in place to keep the health and safety of those boat show attendees while still offering a really important platform for sales to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We know for the boating industry, 50 to 75% of sales happen at boat shows or because of boat shows. So it is definitely a lifeblood. But I also think this gives us an opportunity. It gives everybody in the industry an opportunity to be creative, to rethink our shows for the next generation. One of our shows, the Northwest Sports Show, was canceled as a result of the coronavirus, and we ended up doing a virtual boat show. So, you know, we're having constant communications about what the face of boat shows will look like. I don't think anybody has an idea right now, and it's not just us, right? It's sporting events, it's music venues that are all having to take a look at how do you manage large crowds and make sure that you're doing so safely. And I hope that in the next few months, we'll have a little bit more clarity on how to do it or how to refresh some of those shows to make it even more feasible.
Nicole, one other quick thing that I did want to mention, and I've been seeing a lot of this in the news lately, is how some of our manufacturers in the marine space are repurposing their equipment to help out with the coronavirus scare right now. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. They have really stepped up, particularly operations that maybe aren't producing boats right now, or if they've had products. We're seeing from throughout the industry, manufacturers either repurpose their equipment to make face masks, to make shields, or look at their own stockpiles and make contributions and donations to local area hospitals. It has been incredible to see manufacturers really step up and help our healthcare industry that's in need of much of that personal protection equipment. And we're seeing throughout the country, the boat manufacturers in particular, really stepping up and lending a hand, which is great to see in such uncertain times.
Well, in a country that has its own difficulties and division, we seem to all be coming together pretty nicely right now. And everybody's chipping in as Americans, and that's a wonderful thing to see.
It truly is. It truly is.
Well, Nicole, you've been a wealth of wonderful information, and I can't thank you enough for joining us today. And I'm sorry I probably butchered your last name when I pronounced it earlier.
No problem. You're not the first, so it's okay.
Nicole, thank you again. And for more information from the National Marine Manufacturers Association, what is the website again that we want to go to, and specifically as it relates to the coronavirus?
It's NMMA.org/coronavirus. And it's a great one-stop shop for businesses, for boaters, and for people that are just interested in how this pandemic is impacting the industry and really what the industry is doing on the other side of it. So hope you'll join us there.
Thank you so much again, Nicole. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you out on the water.
Thanks so much.